Hello, I'm Richard Seltzer. I'd like to share with you a romantic story from my book, To Gether Tales, which will soon be published by All Things That Matter Press. In the book, the narrator, in the midst of the pandemic, thinks back to a 7-day Caribbean cruise he was on a few years before, on which 8 people shared a dinner table and swapped stories every night. The narrator laments that with social distancing and mask wearing, love at first sight may no longer be possible. Imagine that you are on that cruise and this story is told by someone sitting across from you at the dinner table. Dueling guitars. Alonzo was a professional guitar player on a cruise in the South Pacific. When the ship stopped at American Samoa, he went ashore with the passengers. He was jaded from having been on dozens of cruises all over the world. Only rarely did he go ashore at ports of call. Playing tourist was boring, rushing hither and thither to snap pictures that he would never look at. But this time, walking down the hall on the promenade deck, he got caught in the surging crowd heading for the tenders, and on impulse he went with the flow. Once ashore, he disdainfully observed the passengers doing tourist things, and he amused himself girl-watching good-looking women from the boat and shop girls trying to catch the attention of passers-by and lure them to buy things that they didn't need and gifts their friends and relatives would soon ditch at yard sales. Then he heard guitar music, a tune he never heard before. Sitting on the curb near the town hall, and from a combination tattoo and surf shop, a young girl in a faded cotton dress was strumming a guitar. She played with her eyes shut, switching from one haunting new tune to another. It sounded like she was improvising, making it up as she went along, connected to her instrument, thinking the music, breathing the music, playing without thinking about playing. He waited for her to pause so he could engage her in conversation, but she played nonstop. He dropped coins, then $1 bills, then fives, then tens, but she took no notice of that, absorbed in her music. She didn't play to make money. She played because that was who she was. She wouldn't decline money. She'd put her hat there to solicit donations, but she didn't care about that. It was a beautiful day and a beautiful island, and she was a beautiful woman making beautiful music. Everything was in harmony. Alonzo ran back to the ship and got his guitar. He sat facing her on the curb on the other side of the narrow pedestrian street. He tried to mimic her softly so as not to break the spell she was under. He closed his eyes and listened and played until he got a feel for the emotion, the consciousness that was generating this music. When he could intuit the patterns and anticipate where she was going, he played louder, loud enough for her to hear. She opened her eyes and smiled, but continued playing without saying a word. He started playing harmony to her melody and added improvisations, always returning to her melody. He had to go back to the ship for an afternoon rehearsal, and the ship would be leaving soon. He walked up to her. She stood and stopped playing. They kissed with passion and hunger, oblivious to the tourists walking by. Then he told her, "Come with me to the ship. If the cruise director hears you, he'll hire you, and we'll be together as we are destined to be." She stared at him, conflicted, unable to decide. He left. He had to leave. Soon before the ship pulled away, he dashed ashore again. By jumping ship, he would lose his job and his chance to be hired again by this cruise line, and he'd be blackballed so other cruise lines wouldn't hire him either. But he simply had to. It wasn't a matter of choice. They were meant to be together. As he was racing to the curbside where she had played, she was racing to the ship. Security wouldn't let her up the gangway, so she started playing, and everyone turned to watch and listen. She said she needed to speak to the cruise director. Someone fetched him. Still playing, singing her words, she told him that she absolutely must join this voyage. Entranced with her music and knowing that he had just lost his guitar player, he hired her on the spot. The ship left as Alonzo wandered the streets looking for her. A year later, she returned on the same ship and found him playing the guitar on the same curb. They've been together now for 10 years. You can hear them tonight at 10 o'clock in Club 6 on the Fiesta deck. If you like this, please let me know in your comments, and I'll do more of the same. You can find my books at Amazon. My name again is Richard Seltzer, as an Alka-Seltzer. My most recent books are Parallel Lives, Beyond the Fourth Door, and Nevermind. They can be read in any order. They're independent stories with overlapping theme and styles. Each presents a different view of reality, a different way of trying to make sense of the mysteries of life.